Welcome to another. Oh, my mic is messing up. Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Where I Come From. It is I, Mr. Tone Deaf. I am back in the building on a Saturday. I haven't worked on a Saturday in a minute. This feels weird, but that's okay. But as you can see, I am joined by a couple of guests today. And if you ever listen to Where I Come From, you know the only requirement to be a guest on this show is you have to be from Milwaukee. This organization right here is doing a lot of things and making a lot of major moves in the city of Milwaukee and hopefully globally at the rate they're going. So what I'm going to do is let my guests not only introduce themselves, but explain the organization to the world.
Beautiful. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Oh, no doubt. Like I said, all you got to do is be from Milwaukee to be on this show.
Well, we appreciate it. Yes, I am a son of this city. I grew up here. My name is Vincent Noth. I am currently the executive director of the Riverwest Food Pantry.
Okay.
And Riverwest Food Pantry has been serving the community for about 40 years. I have been involved in the organization for almost 10 years.
Okay.
And I can tell you a little bit more about our work, but just a little bit about myself. As I was just saying, came up in a public school
Right.
on the north side. And I think that's where I think I really found my love of the city.
Okay.
I think I always appreciated the city growing up, but I was also one of those kids that was like, oh, I'm going to get out of here
Right.
as soon as I can.
You leave and then you go somewhere else and you realize this is just like home.
Yes. I got pulled back to Milwaukee numerous times for various reasons and eventually stopped fighting and really have settled down here. And I've lived in the Riverwest and Harambe neighborhood for about 20 years. And, my wife and I live there and do a lot of stuff in the community. Just really grateful for the community that's wrapped around us. So I'll tell you a little bit more about Riverwest, but I'll let my friend Temi here give a little introduction of himself.
All right. Well, I'm a adopted son of Milwaukee, meaning I just got here this summer. I'm from Minnesota, spent and was raised there in my later years.
So I'm gonna let you know this right
Yes.
now. You may not be accepted here
Uh,
in the city of Milwaukee right away. You're gonna have to earn your stripes being from Vikingville. But it's okay. It's
I
okay.
respect that. But I'm here doing a mission year with Riverwest Food Pantry. How I got hooked up was my sister lived here for a while, and she kind of told me about this food pantry that gives out food, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not in the right place in my life right now, so I'm gonna pass, But she was very persistent, and
Okay.
I came here to visit her one day. I'm like, I have a Saturday morning open. So I went to volunteer, saw this guy, and just the atmosphere as soon as you step into that parking lot,
Okay.
it's not just about giving food, but it's about how we are a community of generosity and that, God is, you could feel the presence of love, and that's all you want,
Right. Big facts.
Yeah, and as soon as I stepped in there, I was like, yeah, I think God is leading me in the right way,
Okay.
and yeah, and I stuck with it, and I'm here now.
Okay. So for the listeners who may not be from Milwaukee, explain like what area of Milwaukee is the River West?
Yeah, so Riverwest and Harambe, the 53212 zip code is the primary place that we serve. We
Right.
serve a number of zip codes, but yeah, basically our service area is primarily from the Milwaukee River. So on the eastern boundary,
Okay.
the western boundary is the I-43 freeway, and then we're a lot of the folks that we serve live between North Avenue and like not Capitol Drive, more like Keefe.
Key.
So that's our community.
Key core
That's-
area.
And I know that's probably not that far from where you
No.
came up.
Matter of fact, by definition, I would be in that. I'm in the 53206 area.
Okay.
So I'm definitely in between that North Avenue, Keith area. Matter of fact, be honest with you, I was 3 blocks away from North Division.
That's where you grew up.
That's where I grew up.
I love that.
So that gives you more of a representation of what my area was. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I literally remember as a kid going with my grandmother to local food pantries.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the ongoing jokes, if Will would have been here, he could have gave it, was the block cheese conversations, the powder milks and stuff like that.
Yes.
I mean, it's an ongoing joke for anybody who happens to grow up in any inner city of thing. So to see something like a food pantry still be around to help our community, especially right now with everybody being heavily affected from COVID, I always felt that was a beautiful thing, because I never looked at myself as being in poverty, because when you're a kid, you don't always see that. Like, if you don't see the obvious, you don't think about it. You think of, I'm a kid growing up just trying to figure out who I am first more than anything. But now when I go back and I look at like my community, those are very detrimental to our community. I also didn't realize it until I got older. My grandmother and my grandfather, more my grandfather than anything, he worked for a farm where up here at Fondy's Food Market, right off of North Avenue in Fond du Lac, he often would sell fresh fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
But it didn't dawn on me he was also giving away food as well too.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because you bring up two things right out of the gate about, like you say, well, what's the impact we're trying to make?
Right.
And one is the quality of the food.
That is definitely important.
Healthy food.
So we have a number of community gardens, and we also have a 27,000 square foot hoop house farm in the city.
Okay.
Just north of the city. It's on Port Washington Road, just like north of Capitol.
I think I've seen it.
You see it off the freeway. If you're heading north on I-43.
That's where I've seen it. I've seen it off the freeway.
By the cost, like by the headphone billboard, you see our farm. But we also rescue about 75,000 pounds of produce a year. We grow about 15,000 pounds of organic produce. And like, then we work really hard to just get like fresh, dairy.
Right.
And so when folks come, the other thing is that, COVID has disrupted some of this, but it's all 100% shopper choice. So you're coming into a real market. And it's, so it's similar to the Fondy Food Market in the sense that, we're trying to provide a variety of options for people. Everything is at no cost. And in the pandemic, we had to pivot, and everything's curbside, outside.
Right. Still understandable.
But the difference between the old model of serving hunger and the new model is, and this is happening in a lot of other cities, and we're a flagship of something that's now coming here to Milwaukee. But we see feeding hunger as a catalyst to really making change in the community. And here's what I mean by that. Like, I came there to volunteer. I had no interest in running a food pantry. My background was more in community development and in ministry. And I came there as a volunteer, and I saw my neighbors.
Right.
I saw all the neighborhood characters. I saw the families that cooked the best food at my block party.
Right.
And it dawned on me, like, wow, I mean, the neighborhood and everyone in the neighborhood that's struggling in any way is showing up here with high frequency.
Right.
And this is a natural hunger created this natural gathering point in my community. And that's in every marginalized community.
Food brings everybody together.
Yes. But the old model is just like, all right, here's some block cheese, here's some processed food.
Right.
See you next time. The new model that you're starting to see pop up in other cities is like, and we do this, chefs coming in doing demos, a really dynamic food space. And then once people are there, we invite them to these collaborative meals. We call them feasts. And about 20 people come, and we cook a big collaborative meal. We have on our farm to fork, dinners. So we're trying to use food to build trust. And then we also, and Temmie's a part of this, we have a crisis assistance and mentoring team. William Olivier is a big part of it too.
I laugh because y'all call him William Olivier. I know it's something different. That's why when you're like, hey, Will, and I'm like, who? Like, I don't know this guy, but then I have to oh, okay, I know who he is. I know him completely.
So you're not going to say what his real name is?
No. That's between. If you didn't go to North with us, that's it. I'll just give give you a hint. Look between 92 and 98 and see if you can find it.
All right.
That's all I'll give you.
All right, I'll take that. I'm gonna run with that.
Okay.
But yeah, so then our team, our sort of our crisis assistance and mentoring team, is just building relationships
Right.
with folks, and like they're right now as we speak helping an individual avoid homelessness, helping him move. We just left out some of our team is there. Temmie this morning was helping a family that their house is foreclosed, trying to navigate next steps.
Right.
And so we don't really have clear parameters of what we will or will not do. If you are in our life, if you we say you come to our center, you become family.
Of course.
And it's just like, we're going to walk with you. We're going to try to figure out what you need and how we can be of service. And it's been a beautiful journey just to see. So in fact, we're changing our name next year, and we're going to take pantry out of our name because we think that pantry sort of has a stigma attached to it.
It does. You think of, especially when you think of a food pantry, you do think of, you get what we give you. Right. Like the store didn't want this and it's close to expiration. That's why you're getting it. But that's why I'm glad you mentioned things like the farm you guys have and working towards not just going from farm to table, but going farm to fork.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that one of the biggest issues with communities, I won't say specifically type of people, but just communities in general, is we have learned to use fast foods and microwaves so much that we don't understand we're affecting what we're putting in our body.
Yeah.
Regardless of where we get it from, because the way we're processing it, we're taking out what makes it good.
Absolutely.
And I really love the fact that you can come, let's say on a Saturday, for an example, and you're looking to get fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. But here's a chef over here who's giving you an idea of how to utilize it.
That's right.
And you now not only are tasting the final product, but maybe before you walk out here, he'll tell you how to do it.
That's right.
So now when you're going home and your whole concept was, I'm just going to, cut these fruits up and eat them individually and make a fruit salad. Now you got a whole completely different concept.
Yes.
And now here you are teaching somebody else this as well too. I've gotten so good at making this. Now I want to take it to the work potluck.
Yes.
Now you're teaching somebody else, or even better, now you and the kids together are learning how to do this. And that's kind of where I'm really amazed at what you guys are doing, because part of the problem is a lot of this generation doesn't know how to cook.
Right.
So, and people say, well, I live in this kind of situation. I have to take what I have to say. No, you don't. The whole organization that they still will help you in this situation. But more importantly, we're going to teach you how to live healthy. You don't got to go full vegan, but we're going to teach you at least how to eat right.
Yes.
And I love that.
Thank you.
I want to go over to you.
Fun fact. Today or this past week, we got over 100 pounds of bananas. And so we're like,
you got to get rid of that.
How do we get rid of this?
You got to get rid of that.
And today we're like handing out recipes of like how to make banana bread.
That was the first thing that popped in my head was banana bread.
We can't really give just bananas. It's like, here, have a banana, eat it with, peanut butter or something. But we went another step, above that. It's like,
have you ever thought about banana and maybe smoothie recipes? Because smoothies are big right now.
They are.
Like that's probably you don't even have to throw a banana, whatever fruit you want, put a little bit extra in there. Yeah. Boom, off to work.
No,
absolutely.
Look at the fruit. Look at the smoothie recipes.
All right,
so we actually, in the pandemic, this is before Temmie got here, but we had a juice bar as well in the pantry, so we had to shut it down. We're going to reopen soon. But yeah, the whole idea, right, is like what how can I learn something new today or this week about food? And Americans, and this is not just people who struggle with low to moderate income, but all Americans we're very disconnected from where our food comes from.
Exactly.
And big food has a monopoly. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a big food map, but there's like 8 companies that control 80% of everything in our grocery stores.
Oh, see, now I gotta look for that.
And
map.
So if you just look for like a big food matrix map, what you can see is that between Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, some of these big names, they like are making like so many products that you didn't realize. And they have a lot of power in our to lobby our government, to have some control over what food is subsidized by the government, like what types of farms are subsidized. So even though the USDA will tell us as Americans, you should eat this many fruits and vegetables in your day, big food is because it has so much power in our Congress and so much power in Washington, is actually contradicting that, and our government is writing policy to support big food over like local farmers.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk politics, but for those who are listening, definitely look up the word kickbacks, and we'll go from there. So I want to get to this crisis and mentoring program.
Yes.
Like, first of all, how did it get started, and what gravitated you towards it out of all the different things that they are doing over there at Riverwest?
It's great. Yeah, I'll tell you. You want me to talk about how it got started, and then tell me, you can say what sort of grabbed you, grabbed your heart.
Yeah.
So, I don't have a, William he's a social worker, right? But I don't have that degree. My background was more in the arts and in ministry. But when I first started a little over 9 years ago, I just loved getting to know the community. Some people I knew, some people I didn't. So as folks are coming through with high frequency, you get to know people week in, week out.
Right.
And you just say, hey, how's it going, Miss Smith? How's it going? Mr. Reynolds or whatever it is.
Right.
And they say it's good, but right now my mom passed, and I didn't have enough money for the funeral, and so I had to take out a loan. And now the funeral parlor's coming after me to try to put a lien on my house. And and I'd be like, wait, what? Like, and so I'd go home and I'd get on the internet and be like, hey, what do you do? When you can't afford to bury a loved one, right? And I'd find out, like if you're Title I, like you can get up to $2,500 for a you know what I mean? And I started to like learn social work 101.
Okay.
So then I started to say to other volunteers, hey, like I'm helping this person over here, like avoid eviction. I'm trying to help this person over here, like get reimbursed for these funeral costs. And I started saying to some of the other volunteers, can you help me?
Right.
So then we partnered with some schools of social work, and we designed a training program for the average person. Because my whole idea is we used to live in a world where, like, if you had an elderly neighbor that like you would like see them and go, man, they can no longer really like carry their groceries. The world that we used to live in was like, oh, hey, we got to help.
We'll go help them.
Yeah, we got to help her.
It wouldn't be a question. The minute they pull it up with their groceries, somebody's already there.
Yeah, who's going to help her start shopping? But the world today now, people are like, I don't want to get sued. I don't know. Like, isn't there some sort of social program that deals with that? And there's never in our world going to be enough licensed social workers to meet the demand. And so it's our belief that as a community, we need to start to learn some of these skills together to walk with each other, to say, hey, no, we should let no one get caught under the wheels of our society and lift people up. And so Team Stride is our mentoring program, and we just stride with each other. We walk with each other. Everyone that's been connected to Riverwest Food Pantry knows that, hey, like this is a place where I can like share what's going on, and there's going to be community members, neighbors that are going to walk with me. So I don't know, Tammy, if you want to talk about how you got sort of drawn to that, but Tammy has a real gift for it, and not everybody has an inclination to get up in people's business. You know what I mean? But
it's all about the right question. No, I'm dead serious. It's all about the right questions. And sometimes, because you may have this happen to you, you just have to have that face, and people will just automatically open up to you with no reason. I remember that I knew that I kind of had to have something that had to deal with giving people a voice in one shape or form ever since I was younger, because I would sit on a bus stop waiting on my bus, whether going to work, friend's house, going to do something I shouldn't be doing, whatever. And the person next to me, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but would immediately turn, can I ask you a question? Or they'll just start and I'm like,
start telling their story to you.
And it's like, I don't want to hear it, but let's go. Yeah. And then I would literally give them what they would deem as great advice, or help them work their own way through their situation. I realized I'm just that person who just knows how to help people. I am the world's muse in so many words. That's the best way I could describe it, because nothing I would ever tell them was something that they didn't already come up with themselves. Just said it again, just so they knew that they said it. And then, of course, I end up getting older, going off doing stuff, realizing, no, this is not just a Milwaukee thing. I do this wherever I go. And then that's how this came out of birth. So being the fact that my mom was a social worker and hearing you guys definitely having a program like that, that's definitely drew me to want to say, okay, what's going on? Then to find out my boy Will is a social worker, which on one side of the coin, I'm like, really? But then on the other side of the coin, I'm not surprised.
Right.
Being who he is.
That's beautiful. So yeah, Tammy's got that gift, man. He really does.
Think so?
Yeah, he has a gift that people
Appreciate
open up to
it.
him just
People-
very
They
naturally.
just open up to you like you Barbara
Yeah,
Walters.
I don't know why. I guess for me, what really drew me into Team Stride, is probably where I came from. So I was born in Ethiopia, and I know what poverty looks like. Seen it every day, lived in it, and to come to America and to be given, a second life or a second, way of providing for family, and just seeing like a person, even just like, I'll be walking with my family and I'll be, seeing somebody across the street that says like, yo, can I have $1? Something about that just like hits you like a brick of rocks, It's like your heart is like torn in two. And I just hated seeing that. And I always asked myself, like, how can I help people, But me growing up, I've, traveled on two different paths. It's like for a long time, I wanted, everything in the world, money, wealth, and all that. But then as soon as I found my relationship with the Lord, he kind of switched that, upside down, and to me being like, what do you want from me? And over time, over like a few months, he said, I want you to help people. And people, like even my families, I was like, I'm very quiet, I'm silent, and I feel like that invites people just to talk, because I'm like, if they're talking, I'm like, whoa, let me correct you right there. I'll let them say whatever they have to say. I'll listen, then I'll ask a question that'd be like, whoa, nobody's asked me like that kind of question before. So for me, it's like I just love hearing people's stories, and I think that's really what drew me into Team Stride, because that's really the most important thing in Team Stride. People just want somebody to listen to, and to
Exactly.
and to see them as who they are.
Yes.
Which many of the times in this year that we live, we just overlook somebody. Like if you don't have money, if you don't have things that are projected as like sought after,
Right.
I'm not going to talk to you.
Right.
And we need to change that, and it starts with this community here in Milwaukee.
You are on the right path, and you are definitely part of a great organization that
Yeah.
is going to get you there. All right.
Yeah.
So I got to ask the most important question here.
Mhm.
What's next?
What's on the horizon?
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot. We've been really blessed with just a lot of volunteers and supporters and community members that are excited about us kind of moving into our own space. So right now we operate, in the pandemic, we closed our public school site, which was at Gensland Public School.
Okay. I was wondering what they was going to do with that.
Off of Humboldt. And then
Right.
we everything is curbside at our Maida House St. Casimir site. It's
Okay.
like right in the heart of Riverwest. And but we are in the development process of kind of launching our own space and a new brand,
Okay.
which will be coming out next year. We're excited about that. In this new space, we're really going to build a huge kind of public market space, and then a shared community kitchen space as well, so that we can do
Okay.
these collaborative meals in a little bit of a bigger venue. And then our hope is also to launch a food-based social enterprise, a business where we can hire folks. And we're targeting right now, the hope is young adults who have had barriers
Right.
to getting back into the workforce, ideally young adults returning to the community,
Okay.
who have interacted with the criminal punishment system, and just expanding our reach. One of the things we do a lot of is training people. Like you had mentioned something that was right on point in the beginning when you said like the culture of food pantries is very much sort of like a line up over here type of culture.
Right.
Like you get what we give you.
Right.
Like, and it's very much like almost the culture almost assumes like someone did something wrong to show up there.
Right.
And standing in judgment of them, and so we're just really big believers in, like, first of all, we tell everyone that comes to our doors to volunteer, we're like, judgment's not in your job description. We're going to give you a job description, but judgment is not in it. Mm-hmm. And so a big thing that we believe actually is that if you have the privilege to walk with someone who's been oppressed or marginalized or who's struggling in some way, they're actually there to teach you. They're actually there to give to you as much as, if not more so, than you're going to give anything to them.
That is so true. You learn more from those who've been through it all than you'll learn from any book.
Yes.
Big facts.
Yeah. And people that have carried these burdens in our society, as just Temmie said, get overlooked. But like we've come to see the folks that carry these burdens in our community as like the heroes. Let me just give you a quick illustration. Okay. One of my friends who's a social worker was working with a woman who was paranoid schizophrenic, right? Had some pretty severe mental health challenges. And he was like, I'd have to like help her do this and help her do this. And he's like, and I would get frustrated because like, let's say I'm supposed to meet her at 9:00 in the lobby of her building. Here it is like 9:45. She comes down. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then she forgets something and go back up. And he said, but it all changed for me one day when we were at a Walgreens checking out.
Right.
And she was in the checkout line, and it takes time for her to respond to people's questions. And the checkout person was like, ma'am, your change or whatever, ma'am. And he was like, ma'am, like kind of like, where are you at? And she paused and she looked at him and she said, I'm sorry. She said, I'm hearing 5 voices in my head, and it just takes me some time to figure out which voice is your voice speaking to me. And my friend said it just changed his perspective about her. He's like, here I was judging her instead of recognizing that, like, she's like a, what kind of level of skill does it take for her to just be able to navigate life with having all these voices in her head? And like, people celebrate athletes, celebrate people like Aaron Rodgers and all these different people. You don't celebrate Aaron Rodgers because he's a Minnesota fan, but
I'm so sorry to hear that.
but people that it's so easy to celebrate these folks, but there are people like with that level of skill, heroes all around us who are carrying these burdens. And so we've just come to realize, like, we need to stand in awe of the burden that people carry and not stand in judgment of how they carry it. One of our heroes says that, Greg Boyle says that. He says, stand in awe, don't stand in judgment.
Right. That's dope. You have a lot of stuff coming up that I definitely will extend my hand if you ever need me. Just reach out to us. He has my number, so if you ever got anything coming up, hit me up.
Beautiful.
We'll find time to get in here and help get the message out one way or another.
Thank you.
Because I'm an advocate of this community. See, I knew you're always prepared. Prepared. Definitely.
If you ever want to volunteer, just hit us up.
You know what? It's ironic that my new job actually has me off on Tuesdays, so I'm kind of stuck now. It's only 2 hours. I can make it work. Speaking of that, how can people get a hold of you? How can we reach you? Where do we go? Is this something that's available for the whole city, or is it only in certain areas?
Yeah, great question. So in the pandemic, we opened up, we always would serve. So we're part of a network of about 50 pantries in the county.
Okay.
And we always would serve folks when they come, but our network tries to, encourage people to go to the pantry in their own community.
Right.
But during the pandemic, we changed that. We serve anybody and everybody. But before the pandemic, we focused on primary zip codes 53212, 53223, which is Halyard Park, 53202, which is downtown,
right?
Sort of like north side of downtown, 53211, which is the east side, and 53217. But like, we will serve you if you come.
Right, you're gonna come, but then we're probably going to give you the information of the closest one to you.
Just trying to connect you. The way to get involved, the best way is to go to riverwestfoodpantry.org.
Okay.
There's a sort of get involved link. And there's just a simple way to put your name and email in there. That way you'll get on our sort of like volunteer list.
Right.
And we'll shoot out those volunteers saying, hey, like, here are the 4 times this week we're going to be at the farm. Here are the 3 times this week we're going to be at our site, And so it's just a chance. And we just guarantee, just show up one time and you'll feel it, just like Tammy felt it.
Right.
You feel the love, you feel the generosity of the community. And it's been great.
Understandable. Well,
Also on Facebook and Instagram is Riverwest Food Pantry.
Okay.
You can follow us, like us.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
But definitely, I want to thank you guys for coming in for this.
Yeah.
It was needed. This information is definitely needed as we're getting ready to roll not only into the holiday season, but the winters. And this at least gives people resources of how to not suffer so much.
Yeah.
Because, of course, as we all have our own personal conflicts and issues, we have to work through how much we're willing to share, but at least you don't have to be hungry while doing it.
Yes.
That's one of the key things.
Yes.
And then, you get there, you see this young man's face, and who knows, you might tell him all your problems while picking over your favorite. Do you want a red apple or a green apple? Who knows? Leave out with a bunch of bananas and a recipe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Recipe to banana bread. That's actually what I'm going to name this episode.
Recipe
For banana bread.
That's pretty cool.
It was our honor to be here, and thank you again for giving us a platform to share
no
our
problem.
story.
Like I said, you guys will definitely be back in one shape or form.
Yes.
So make sure you guys check us out on all streaming platforms. That's Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your episodes at. The video will be available so you can see their lovely faces on YouTube, and definitely make sure you check us out on Cut the Check. The website will be updated every Thursday. With that being said, people, we are going home because these guys have made me hungry.